sailors on the planet, a two-time Olympic bronze medalist and world podium finisher.
And today I'm chatting to Erik Heil.
This is the world of Erik Heil, now the driver of Germany in SailGP, the most extreme racing league on water. He studies medicine, leads a team at the highest level, and still wins. When you hear his story, you will not believe what this man has survived and achieved.
But yeah, I think the foundation is always trust.
How you are able to connect with your partner to deliver performance, even if you are not seeing each other.
And I have 7 voices in my ear and try to manage these voices, so it's a complete different game.
I am Santiago, Naranjo, passionate about business and chief revenue officer at VTEX. In this podcast, we talk about what is truly changing the game and the strategy behind global transformation.
Different opinions, trust, and openness to talk about things.
So, thank you so much for being here. For the one that don't know you and don't understand who is behind this human being, this sport person, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Erik Heil. I'm from Germany. I'm doing professional sailing for almost 25 years. I went to the Olympic Games twice, won 2 times bronze medal, and yeah, now I'm into SailGP. It's called. It's the Formula One in sailing.
It is.
On like 100 kilometers per hour fast boats. So yeah, that's my little journey.
Let's start with the basics. How you end up starting to love boats and start to be able to connect with performance and racing? You were raised like this, your family, how that?
Yeah, I was growing up in a very, very small sailing club in Berlin.
Okay.
On a little lake, which is still a nice place for me to be. I'm going back really often.
Roots are always roots.
It's so cool, and also to see how the club developed over the years. And I was playing tennis quite a bit and was successful in tennis, but a bit more successful in sailing. So I continued sailing.
Can we play tennis maybe in Medellin or Miami?
I'm okay to play with, but I'm not really good.
I will take advantage of your shoulder.
Exactly.
That is not working perfectly.
That's your chance. No, but yeah, I was growing up there, and then I started on small boats. Then you have a youth program you're running through. Then you're starting to add on, you're going more international, you're doing more international competitions and growing also on these boats into faster boats. And I ended up in an Olympic boat, which is called the 49er.
An Olympic boat that you call how?
49er. It's 4.99 meters long.
Okay.
And goes around, max speed 50 kilometers per hour. So it's quite a fast boat and very unstable. It has no own stability. If you put it into the water and you're not balancing on it, it's always capsizing. So it's a really fun boat to sail, and you're two people on the boat. I did that for 15 years nearly. It was a really interesting journey for me because sailing always had lots of topics. You start and you have logistic to organize, you have material development, you have the health aspect. So my sailing partner, he's an engineer, or he studied engineering. So he was always on these logical, system things and developments there. And I was more the health guy, responsible for our training program, for our, recovery program, nutrition, and so on. So yeah, it's a very cool project.
How do you decide to enter in competition, to go professionally? From enjoying and having fun with a boat, what was the moment that you decide to go, okay, let's do this for living, let's make money on this, let's create our entity on this?
Yeah, I think it was never the plan, actually. We had always fun. We had the luck of having really, great people around. Our training group was always with great people. And we enjoyed being together, and we enjoyed, developing as a group. So for the first Olympic campaign, we actually had the goal within the group. Only one boat goes to the games, so only one per nation. So it was, if you're in the training group, it's this guy, a couple of other guys, or us. And our goal was to win a medal within our small team, within these 2 boats. And that was the spirit, and I really enjoyed that. So it was not a conscious decision. It was the fun and the journey.
The fun and the journey. Yesterday I was with Nadal, and he says something very similar to what you are saying. It is how you have fun with your team. If you're not able to enjoy what you are doing, if you're not able to have fun, if you're not able to guarantee that everybody is enjoying, don't make it. You are not going to be successful. How to maintain this relationship along the time, how you are able to nurture and to allow yourself, your partners, to have a healthy relationship, to have a good friendship, because let's be honest, not always is fun. Let's be honest, always any type of relationship and
Yeah.
with performance, you have some friction.
Yeah.
How you are able to manage this type of relationship?
For sure, it's work as well. You know, we're talking about things. We're making sure responsibilities are shared the, you know, kind of the same weight. So we try to balance also responsibilities and time you spend for things. But we also find, you know, funny ways to just enjoy. You know, we did always, you know, backflip or front flip videos from the boat, and we enjoyed, you know, creating videos back in the days. We were the special guys in the training group, always, you know, spending a little more time on the water to create something fun, and that helped us along the way quite a lot. I wouldn't say it was supernatural, but it was rather natural than forced, having fun around our journey.
Amazing. You are in the middle of a competition. You are with the boat, fast. You are with your partner. Your boat is shaking, and you don't have a lot of time to talk each other. I think sometimes you are not able even to look each other very easily because you both are doing this job. How you are able to build this trust, this instinct to react when you have something around that is the ocean, that something that obviously you do not control. You have a wave coming from the left, from the right, in front, and you need to react. And I think it's part of the fun of your sport that you are not able to control everything that is around you because nobody can control the ocean. How you are able to connect with your partner to deliver performance, even if you are not seeing each other, or maybe sometimes not even talking each other.
I mean, on the boat with two people, so the Olympic boat, it was, you know, over time you create a very good unconscious understanding of what each of us does. You create a human antenna of things, you know, and
Human antenna.
yeah, you know, you feel so many things which you're not conscious about anymore. So how, the waves you said, or you know, the wind which is changing, and all these little things which impact the boat. It's a very unconscious procedure you're going through. If you compare the first part of the campaign to the last couple of events, here you're talking endless about things, and you don't find any space to jump in with another sentence or something, like, you know, some additional conversation you cannot manage. And here you're not talking at all. You know, you're in the moment, you feel the movements of each other, and you're so aligned that you don't need to talk anymore. And I have videos from the first beginning of where we sailed and the last couple of events, and it's such a big difference. And on the SailGP boat, so this is with more people. We are 6 on the boat.
6.
So, and we are further away. We have, you know, in the Olympic boat, we are face to face in the trapeze, hanging out of the boat, and we can talk to each other like this. In SailGP boat,
Yes.
you can imagine if you go upwind, our upwind speed against the wind is around 60 kilometers per hour. Additional, you have the, you know, the wind coming against you with 20 kilometers per hour. Then you have 80 kilometers per hour of wind noise,
Wow.
and you have to make sure everyone on the boat hears you. So you have a comm system, and we're only talking about comm systems. But the difference is you have 6 people. 6 people can talk, and we have 2 coaches in the coaching booth, like in Formula One in the garage,
Okay.
which are also able with lots of, you know, additional information to talk to you. So you have, I'm the helmsman on the boat, so I'm driving, and I have 7 voices in my ear and try to manage these voices. So it's a complete different game. And we also started the journey with talking way too much. And every single event, we analyze the communication tonight again, actually, because we try to reduce and reduce and reduce to make it a more unconscious understanding of each other. It's but another dimension and another level of making sure you're getting to a good level with that.
But let's be honest, that is the language of performance. The language of performance is not yelling. It is not talking a lot, a lot, a lot. It's just knowing your partners, who is around you, feeling their energy. But it's not easy. You need to trust, I assume, with your life. Then you need to be able to understand their perspective of what they are saying or what is the view of them, because each of the other six people, I think they can have different point of views, and you need to coordinate. And then you have the coaches. Where are based the coaches? They are seeing.
There's a VIP lounge always, and there's VIP lounge that has a certain area which is for the coaches. So all the spectators, they can walk behind the coaches with, the coaches they have 4 screens each, where they run all the data, where they run all the
The
tricks about
telemetry of the engines. I
yeah,
assume
also
wind.
the gas, our boat creates bad air, and
Okay.
they have gas models running in the background. So they know a lot from just watching the boat digitally, which is a really good advantage if you can use it. But they also don't see what we see on the boat in the particular moment. So it's really tricky. And you have to trust a lot that they make also right decisions. But yeah, I think the foundation is always trust, and the foundation is we're aiming for the same goal. And after this, everything is allowed in my point of view. So everyone has an opinion and wants to share it, and needs to address things. I think that's it's super important, and it's also the essence of how to get better, because you get different opinions. And I said before, my crew, Thomas, on the Olympic board, and myself, we can't be more different, and character-wise, and also in understanding of the board. I said, the logical engineering guy. I'm, more the health guy in the other corner, and we are super different. I think exactly that is what's needed to bring a good team together. Different opinions, trust, and openness to talk about things.
One question. Do you operate rituals like a debrief meeting after each competition? Do you have a space where you define what worked, what didn't work, or how you operate the learnings
After an event,
after an event?
yeah, we have a quite a professional setup, and we still develop, to get better on
Yes.
this. But we split up in teams. So I'm on the strategy starting team.
Okay.
We have another team going into speed, another team going into communication. So in the end, we have 4 teams split apart, and we try to analyze after the event and get together with the findings. This takes usually, after an event, we come together to collect thoughts first with a big team. Then we go into the smaller teams, working 3-4 days in these smaller teams. Then coming again back together to kind of a workshop each day to make sure we're making the right analysis of what went wrong. And
That is quite a framework. Can we go more on detail of that? So after each event, you have, I assume, the next day, each of you sit and start to write the information or what to.
the same day we come
The same
together. It's
day?
the first, we just drop our thoughts on the
Okay.
same day. So our event starts always Friday, practice racing, Saturday, first racing day, and Sunday, second racing day. And on Sunday, when they take the boat out, we're sitting in a 40-foot container and in front of a screen, and we're just dropping our thoughts. And then everyone has 3 minutes to drop thoughts. Yeah, one of the coaches is putting the notes down and so on. And then we're flying back on Monday. We meet again Tuesday night with, bringing the thoughts back on the table, and then we decide what we want to look at. For example, we were in Cadiz a couple of weeks ago. Now the next event is in Abu Dhabi. So now it's for us really important. Abu Dhabi is light breeze. We have a different configuration on, the boat has different configurations. First of all, the boat has a small, middle, and big wing, as a big sail. And in Abu Dhabi light breeze, we most likely will say the big setup, big foils, big sails, which makes the boat very different to sail. And we also reduce people on the boat. Yeah, if we have less wind, then they want still the boat to foil. So foiling means we get out of the water, reduce resistance in the water. I don't know if everyone knows foiling, and then we go very fast by just reducing that connection to the water. yeah, by doing that, the boat gets fast, and we have to reduce people to make sure we foil. So it's the worst case for me, worst case, because I'm actually overloaded with tasks. Then is we sail with 3 people, and I have to fly the boat with one hand, use foot buttons for other functions, and you have lots of buttons you have to press in between. So it's quite a big challenge, and that's what we prepare for Abu Dhabi. So to make sure, okay, I'm used to, because we have not really training time on these boats. They are traveling around the world all year, and we need to make sure we get there prepared.
I never imagined how deep will be that. One concept that I love is how many times you are out of home to be able to stay professionally. How many days per year?
I think not as many as you, actually. We have lots of homework. I'm living in the north of Germany, in Kiel. We have an Olympic base there for sailing, so I can go onto the water. I told you the farm I'm living at is 3 minutes from the Olympic venue, and
I am so jealous about you that you are living in a farm.
yeah, it's also
That
a
is my
nice project.
dream. You are in a boat for living. They pay you to be a professional F1 on sailing. Then you live in a farm. And congrats. You,
Yeah.
you are living the dream.
I'm really lucky. I feel at least like I'm really lucky with things developing around me. But also the project itself, it was not, the SailGP didn't exist in Germany before. So
Okay.
we had to come up with, this is part of Olympic sailing or professional sailing in Germany. You create also the campaign around it, and we had to, you know, initiate the process of, becoming a team in the league and getting sponsors and so on. It's a very interesting, holistic project you're always getting into, and I like this as a part of our sport as well, which sometimes is too much, sometimes it's not helpful, and also the hours you spend not with doing the sport and instead doing, I would say business things is not useful to get better, but it's really really cool part of the journey too.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about how you engage with Vitex, how you engage with Mariano. How did you meet each other?
Yeah, one of our training partners back in the days from Rio is called Thomas Lobier,
Yes, of course.
and Thomas, uh, he has a mentor, which is Mariano, who is the CEO of Vitex, right? Yeah, we had an event in New York, and he's really into sailing. So Thomas Lobier and Mariano, they wanted to visit, and they visited us in the base, and we went through the boat, and I explained a bit the technology behind it, and so on, and I think that really got him fizzing for the topic. He's a sailor himself, so I think you always need a little connection to the sport, or at least to the water, to feel the passion. But also it's quite a modern topic, SailGP itself. We are racing with a boat which doesn't consume fuel. That's first of all kind of, it's not sustainable. I mean, we cannot say we're sustainable because we're sailing with carbon boats. We're sailing around the world. We create a footprint, but the league has also, there's one trophy for the win and there's one trophy for sustainability. And especially the sustainability
Wow,
part.
a trophy for sustainability.
Yeah, it's a really tough challenge because, the setup is very tricky. They measure how much trash you produce, how much electricity, and so on and so on. There's like a daily life counting on things. Additionally, you have a purpose partner you share your thoughts with. We had a mental health initiative we worked with for the last 2 years, and then there are challenges over the year, and all that together is judged by a team, and then they give you points. And not only for us, but also for the partners joining us, it's really important to be on that end as successful as in the pure racing. So yeah, this is why I think SailGP is quite a modern sport league.
Okay. I think we are arriving to our ending now. I want to thank you for
Thanks for having me.
allowing us to be part of your journey. You are an amazing professional. We love your discipline. We love how we are able to connect. We admire you. We are going to cheer for you in all your competition. Hope everything goes well in Abu Dhabi,
Thank you.
and I hope that we can do more things together. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.